I have analyzed over 100 of the most successful sales funnels across coaching, consulting, agencies, and other online service businesses out there. So today I will show you the exact sales funnel you need to scale it around 300k per month and beyond. And I'm going to start off with a very basic funnel and then slowly add on to it until I show you the entire snapshot of the sales funnel used at the top level of your industry today. And the really nice thing about this funnel is that it starts out very simple and very basic, just like you're building the foundation to a skyscraper. And then slowly as you scale further, you need to add additional traffic sources, email sequences, sales pages, etc. But let's dive right into it. So I'm going to start off with the calendar page. And the calendar page is sort of a terminal point because every single lead and every single prospect will eventually come to your calendar page to book a call. No matter what traffic source, what funnel people come from, everything funnels to your calendar page. And this right here is a pretty standard calendar page structure. So up top, you obviously have your headline where you ask them to book a call below. And right beneath your headline, you usually want to have some sort of social proof demonstrating how many people you work with, for example. And then under that, obviously, you have your calendar. It doesn't really matter what software you use, but most people use Calendly. And also in my experience, Calendly is usually the best. And then beneath your calendar, you want to have an endless amount of case studies to provide even more proof that you can actually do what you say that you do. And then one quick thing with your calendar is that you don't want to let people book a call more than 3 days into the future. And the reason is that if you let people book, let's say 1 week into the future, then the show up rate will go through the toilet. People have so much going on these days in their lives that it's impossible for them to remember a call that they booked 1 week ago. So only let people book a maximum of 3 days into the future to make sure you have a high enough show up rate. And also make sure you have enough availability. Because if people don't find a time that suits them, then they will never book a call. If every time a prospect comes to your calendar, they will have a time in their mind when they would like to book a call. And if they don't see that time on your calendar, then the likelihood that they book a call is very low. Alright, then I'm going to work back to front. So the next page you need to have is your thank you page. And there are 2 reasons why you need a thank you page. And I believe the thank you page is the most important page in this entire funnel. And the first objective of the thank you page is to increase your show up rate. And the second objective is to increase people's buying readiness, to make your sales calls much easier and to make people essentially pre-sold before they ever jump on a call. And the thing is that if you don't have a thank you page, then most people that come to your sales calls will be more curious than serious. They won't really know what it is that you do. They won't really know what your offer is. They don't really know what your methodology is, what you're selling. And they will have a lot of questions, a lot of objections. And most of your sales call will just be you explaining your offer, what it is that you do, and handling all the objections. So instead of making your sales calls very, very hard, you want to front load all that information to your thank you page. Because it's very hard to sell someone and explain everything that you do in a 30 to 60-minute call. That just doesn't work because there's a certain amount of information that people need in order for them to buy. And without thank you page, you have to do all of this selling on the sales call. And that is very hard and not scalable at all. So instead, what you want to do is you want to have your thank you page do most of the heavy lifting, do 70% or more of the selling. And then your sales calls can be very easy, only 30 minutes long, where you just see if you're fit to work together. And then about your show up rate, most people forget that they booked a call. So on your thank you page, you want to make sure that people add the call to their calendar, and you want to make sure that they respond yes, that they will show up. And people have found out that if a prospect responds yes to your SMS after booking a call, they have a staggering 95% chance of showing up to the call. But people who don't respond to your SMS, their show up rate is usually around 50%. So on your thank you page, you want to encourage people to respond yes to your text message, because then they're much more likely to actually show up to the call. And this right here is a pretty standard structure of the thank you page. And again, at the top of the page, you want to congratulate them on booking a call, but you want to tell them right here that their call is not yet confirmed, that they have to complete the following 2 steps to actually confirm their booking. And this first step is what's designed to increase your show up rate. And what you want them to do is that you want them to reply yes to your text message and select yes in the email calendar invitation. So right here, you want to have an image of what it looks like when they receive the email calendar invitation to their inbox. You want to show them how to click yes and add the call to their calendar. Because if you don't show them how to actually do it, then they won't add the call to their calendar. Because no way will someone take the time out of their day to find out how to add the sales call to their calendar. So you need to actually show them how to do it and tell them to do it, otherwise they won't do it. And this step 2 right here is what's designed to increase people's buying readiness and pre-sell them and make your sales calls a whole lot easier. So you want to have a video where you teach people how your process works. And you want to have some sort of instructions here beneath. You want to say, for example, watch this short 8-minute video before a demo call. And usually on most of your pages, you always want to have some sort of instructions for people. And it may seem too obvious, but in most cases, having instructions always will increase the likelihood that people do what you want them to do. So in this video then, you want to talk how your process works, what you do, what your offer is, how you help people, your methodology, the results you have got for other people, you want to have case studies, you want to have client results in the video, and then also in the video you want to overcome all your most common objections. So all of you probably have 3 or 5 objections you hear most often on sales calls. So instead of handling them over and over again on every single sales call, just put them in the video right here. And then people will show up pre-sold to the call because they have all their questions answered. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly your methodology. They know what makes you stand out in the market, how you're different. They know what results you have got. So when they show up to the call, they show up ready to buy. And that's why I believe the thank you page is the most important page in the entire funnel. But don't make the mistake of putting 10 videos on your thank you page. Because when people land on your thank you page, if they see 10 videos, they will be overwhelmed and then they won't watch anything. People have tried putting 10 different videos on the thank you page and they found out that people only stay on their thank you page for 7 seconds. But when they reduced the amount of videos to 1 video, people stayed on average for 7 minutes. And that's a drastic increasement because then people aren't overwhelmed. Then they have 2 clear steps. They don't have to think what they should do, what they should watch. And when people don't have to think that much, they will actually do something. Don't overwhelm people. Don't put too many videos on your thank you page. And then after your thank you page, you will obviously have your call. And from those calls, you will then close your clients. And before the call, you want to have some pre-call sequence where you keep on nurturing people and remind them of the call. But this pre-call sequence is pretty complex and it's pretty long, so I won't go in depth about this in this video, because otherwise this video would be way too long. But I will create an entire video that goes in depth about the pre-call sequence, and that's probably the next video that will come on my channel. So make sure to watch that when it comes out. But in this video, I will focus specifically on the sales funnel and dive more in depth what comes before the calendar page. So by this stage, you may find out that people still don't really know what you do, what problems you solve, what's the outcome that you provide. So that's when you need to add the VSL page. And so many people these days are saying that the VSL page is dead, that the VSL doesn't work anymore. But you need to understand that the VSL is just basic human psychology. It's human psychology put into a sales page, put it into a page, and human psychology doesn't stop working. A VSL page, 100% it does work, but you just need to use it in the right way, in the right order, and you have to create it in the right way. Of course, you can create a VSL page that doesn't work, but it doesn't mean that VSLs in general don't work, it just means that your VSL is shit. And the entire objective of the VSL is to make sure that you attract the right people and that people know what problems you solve and what outcome you provide. Because without a VSL page, you may find that you get a lot of wrong people to book a call. People that you don't want to work with, who aren't qualified and so on. So the objective of the VSL page is to make sure that you attract the right type of people, and again, so they know what problems you solve and what outcome you provide. So if we distill down its 2 purposes, 1 is selling and 1 is qualifying. So this right here is a very standard VSL page structure. So up top on the page, you want to call out your exact ICP, the exact type of clients you want to work with. So if you only work with women who are 40 years old, and if you only work, let's say, with agencies who make 50K per month, then say that right here, you want to call out your specific ICP so that people know exactly who this is for and who it's not for. And that will do 2 things. It will filter out all the people that you don't want to work with, all the unqualified people, and it will attract the people that you want to work with. So you hit 2 birds with 1 stone. And then you obviously want to have your main big headline, and you want to make sure that your headline is big enough so that it's the first thing that people see when they land on your page. And also, so many of you guys make your headlines way too complicated, and no one even understands what the fuck you're selling. So please make sure your headline is in 3rd grade reading level. Don't use any fancy words, just make sure that people understand. And then underneath your headline, you want to have a sub-headline that gives further context to the headline. And usually what you want to do is that when people read your headline, they will get a bunch of objections, this can't work for whatever reason. And those reasons that people think in their head, you want to overcome them in the subheadline. So for example, if you help people get clients from social media, their objection could be that they don't want to go viral. So in your headline, you could say, get 50 clients from YouTube, and then in your subheadline, you could say, without going viral, or without being on the content creation hamster wheel. So you want to overcome people's negative assumptions and objections in your subheadline that your main headline creates. And then obviously you have your main video, and that's the most important part of a VSL page. And a VSL in itself is quite simple. You have this spectrum when people have their problems, and then here is a dream outcome. So in your VSL, what you do, first you want to obviously call out your ideal audience, your ICP, But then you want to talk about their problems as specifically as you can, and you want to talk about moments. You want to talk about the moment when they feel their problems. You don't want to explain the problem itself, you want to explain it how they feel it, and using their language, using their own words. And then you want to talk about the outcome that you provide, using case studies, using your results that you've got for other people. And then you want to bridge this gap in between. And that's basically all you want to do in your VSL. But just make things clear, no one gets their VSL right on the first try. Most likely your first VSL won't be good. You will need to create new VSLs, test things out, and maybe on your 4th or 5th iteration, then your VSL will be very good. So don't say that VSLs don't work after you're creating your first VSL. You need to create new ones, new iterations, and try things out until it works. But when it works, it will work very, very well. And then, again, beneath your video, you need to have instructions. And again, it may seem very obvious, but having instructions will always increase the likelihood that people do what you want them to do. So just tell them, tap play and watch the full video above. And because we are in a trust recession, people don't trust strangers on the internet these days. You know, if we draw a quick graph, people's trust have gone down and down and down as time goes on. So these days people are more skeptical than they have ever been before. And you need to overcome people's trust issues. You need to get them to trust you. So you want to put some sort of third-party social proof if you have right there, like Trustpilot, then this is a perfect place to put it. But if you don't have third-party proof, then you can put here, for example, how many clients you have worked with. Just a number, 1,000+ clients served, for example. And then above your CTA button, you want to have a small quick sentence, a punchline, you know, ready to, and then the benefit that you provide. And then you obviously have your CTA button, and make sure your CTA requires the least amount of trust possible. You know, one example that you could have on your CTA button is see if you qualify. And to see if you qualify doesn't require that much trust because you're only seeing if you qualify. So people aren't as scared to push a CTA button that says see if you qualify rather than book a call. Because booking a call is much more scary because then you have to take action and actually commit to something. And then again, because people are so skeptical and so scared these days, you want to have an endless amount of case studies then beneath your CTA button. But now you may find out that, well, yeah, you're getting a lot of booked calls. People know what you do, what you sell, what you offer, but you may be getting a lot of calls with people that you can't really work with, that you can't really help. Yes, they maybe want to work with you, but you don't want to work with them. You know, they aren't qualified at all. You know, they aren't a perfect fit, they don't have the budget, and so on. And this is a big problem for you, right? Because if you're running an online service business, then you don't have a lot of time. You are very busy, you have a lot of things going on. So the last thing you want to do is hop on a sales call and spend 60 minutes with someone that you can't even help, that you don't want to work with. So now we need to make sure that only qualified people can book a call. That only people that you want to work with are able to schedule a call and actually show up. So right here, in between your VSL and your calendar page, we need to add a qualification form. And most people do exactly that. They add the qualification form after their VSL page. But what I have found out is that by adding your qualification form or your questions on your VSL page, then that will increase your application rate by quite a bit. And I don't have data on this, but I believe that people are pretty scared of something that they can't see. They're scared of the unknown. And if they were to click your, let's say, apply button right here, then that's pretty scary for them because they don't know what your form looks like. They don't know what will pop up. They don't know where they would be redirected. So they are a bit more hesitant. But if they can see your qualification questions here beneath the CTA button, if they can see your application form on the VSL page itself, then they aren't as scared because they know what it looks like. So you should try putting your qualification form onto your VSL page, onto the page before your calendar page. And don't put your qualification form onto your calendar page because you never want to let unqualified people see your calendar. You never want to let them book a call. You want to have a clear wall here in between. You don't want to let unqualified people ever book a call or land on your calendar page. And in your qualification form, you want to have two types of questions. You want to have, obviously, your qualification questions, but you also want to have readiness questions. And qualification questions, yeah, they are obvious why you want to have them. But you also want to have readiness questions because, yeah, some people may be qualified to work with you, but they may be not ready to work with you right now. Some people just book a call to find out more, to shop around. And you don't want to let them book a call because that's a huge time waste for you, right? You only want to let people book a call that are ready right now. So you want to have a question, for example, if we are fit and all things look good, are you ready to start working right now? So, and then if people answer that they're ready in like 6 weeks time, then don't let them book a call. Only let people book a call who say that they're ready right now. And one quick thing with your questions in your qualification form, you don't want to have these very long essay questions because people's attention spans are so short these days, they don't have the time or energy to answer these long, text questions. So instead you want to have multi-choice questions. So when you have a question, put like 3 or 4 or 5 pre-made alternatives that people can then select one of them, and this will increase your completion rate by a lot on your qualification form. And already this funnel right here will get you to like very high levels, to like 50-80k per month already. But the thing is that with the VSL, it works very, very well for warm traffic. So for example, people from YouTube, Instagram, for example, people who have seen you before, who know, like, and trust you. So for people from those traffic sources, this VSL funnel works exceptionally well. But if you want to scale further from like 50K per month, then you will need to start advertising to colder and colder audiences. And some people have tried running ads to their VSL. And yeah, like that did work in 2020, 2021. But as I already told you before, people's trust these days has just gone down and down and down and down and down. People don't trust strangers anymore. So if you run ads to like cold traffic who haven't seen you before, who don't know you, who don't like you, who don't trust you, these are people who see you for the first time ever. Do you then expect them to go to your VSL page, look at your offer, look at what you're selling, and instantly be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna book a call and pay him like 5K, pay him 10K? Like, that doesn't work anymore. People don't watch a 30-second ad and then, a 5-minute VSL and already be sold and have enough trust to pay large amounts of money. That doesn't work. And this is probably one of the reasons why people believe that the VSL doesn't work anymore. But a VSL works exceptionally well for warm traffic, but it doesn't work for cold traffic. So now if you want to scale, we need to find a different way of getting them to know, like, and trust us, so they eventually feel ready enough to book a call for a high-ticket service. And one quick thing I forgot to add with your VSL is that don't make your VSL like 30 minutes long. That's a huge mistake I see people doing. Because again, people's attention spans are very short these days. So your VSL should be from like 4 to 12 minutes max. Don't make your VSLs long. A short VSL works exceptionally well, and that's all you need. But now let's get back to how do you get people from cold traffic? How do you get cold people to know, like, and trust you so they eventually want to book a call and work with you? And the thing is that on average, it takes around 7 hours of exposure to turn someone from a stranger to a client. So we need to somehow get them to spend enough time with us so they trust us. And we need to also prove our expertise. We need to prove to them that we know what we are talking about. So we need to offer them something that doesn't require any trust at all, because they don't trust us at this point. You don't have any trust built up. So you need to offer some sort of free thing to them, because they have only spent around 30 seconds with you. And on average, it takes around 7 hours to turn someone to a high-ticket client. And so many people try running these, low-ticket offers here that are like $30. But you need to remember that people don't trust any stranger these days. People don't scroll on Instagram or Facebook, see a video, and be like, oh yeah, I want to buy that product. Well, that doesn't work anymore. That was like 3-4 years ago. You can't even run a low-ticket offer anymore. You need to give people something for free. And this is where lead magnets come in. And people have been running these, standard lead magnets for quite a while now, for like 10 years. And these standard lead magnets, well, they don't either work so well anymore, because people don't want to read your shitty like ebooks. I'm sorry, but they don't want to read your 7 best tips to increase ROAS or your 3 best tips to lose weight before summer. People don't care anymore these days, and they can just find that information on YouTube or just ask ChatGPT. We need to be way more creative with our lead magnets. A normal PDF doesn't work anymore. We need to find something that's actually unique to yourself, that people can't just find on Google or YouTube. And people are also very selfish these days. So your lead magnet needs to be personalized and tailored and unique for every single prospect. And that's why we want to run a quiz lead magnet. Because when you have a quiz, you can provide tailored and personalized value. You can tailor your lead magnet for every single prospect that opts in. So it's much more valuable, and people actually want to give their contact information for that. There are also many more other benefits to running a quiz funnel, which I will come to. So this right here is your opt-in page for the quiz. And again, you want to call out your ideal audience at the top of the page so that people know who it is for and who it's not for. You want to have a clear headline and a sub-headline that gives further context to the headline and overcomes the objections and negative assumptions that your headline creates. Then you want to have some sort of image of the quiz, of the lead magnet that you provide, because every single time you have a digital product, people still want to visualize what it looks like. And then beneath the video, you just want to start your quiz. So you want to have your first question, you want to have some alternatives, and then a CTA button to start the quiz. And beneath that, we want to say that they can get the results in under 30 seconds. That is very fast, very quick, because some people still have the assumption in their mind that the quiz will take like 10-15 minutes to complete. And you all know, the faster you can get someone results, the more valuable it is. So just state that it takes under 30 seconds. And then obviously, you will have your quiz form. And after people have completed the quiz, you want to redirect them to a VSL page. And this is not the same VSL page as this one right here. This is a cold VSL page. And the reason you want to have a different VSL page right here after the quiz is because you need to again remember that the people who come through your quiz, they are still cold. They saw a 30-second ad, they completed your quiz took like maybe a few minutes, So they have spent like 3 minutes with you at most. So the people who come to this VSL page, they are still very cold and very skeptical. And as you all know, people at different awareness stages require a different way of talking to them. You know, people here at the bottom who are very warm, who know, like, and trust you, then you don't want to beat around the bush. Then you want to be very clear and direct and tell people to book a call and so on. But the cold people up here, you can't just tell them to book a call and work with you, because then they will hate you and they won't want to do anything with you anymore in the future. So you need to be a lot more indirect and much less salesy for these colder prospects. But you also want to be very direct for warm people. So that's why you want to have two different VSL pages. One for warm people, where you are much more salesy and direct, and one for cold people, where you are much more indirect and less salesy, less pushy. But the purpose of this cold VSL remains the same. The purpose is to indirectly frame what your quiz is about to your main offer. And if you do that correctly, if you tie the quiz well to your main offer, if you make your main high-ticket offer seem like the obvious next step after your quiz, then you can get a lot of people from your cold VSL page to book a call and go to your calendar page. And the people that you get to book a call from your cold VSL page, so they are the top 3% of your market. Because as you all know, around 3% of your market is in buying mode right now. So if you would just run ads as straight to a VSL page, then you could get at max, 3% to book a call right away. And you still get that 3% to book a call with this quiz funnel. But the benefit of the quiz funnel is that now people have filled out a quiz form. So we have their contact information. So now we can keep nurturing all the people that didn't book a call right away. The other 97% of the market. So now we can keep nurturing them and then eventually get them to our calendar page. And I will show that email sequence just in a second. But don't think that by running a quiz funnel, you don't get any people to book a call right away. You still get all the same people you would by running ads straight to a VSL page, but now you can also get the other 97%. So this is how the cold VSL page should be structured. Here at the top, you want to confirm that their quiz, whatever name you give to your quiz, is being sent to their inbox. And you want to always give your quiz, a unique name. Make it like your unique mechanism so that you don't blend in with everyone else. But then beneath that, you want to say, important, before you check your email, watch this video. Because people are very excited to go to their inbox to see their results. But you want to make sure that they stay on this page to watch the video below. And then below that, you want to somehow tie your quiz, whatever it is, to your main high-ticket offer. You want to make your main high-ticket offer seem like the obvious next step. So you could say something like, it is one thing having quiz benefit, but without X, Y won't happen. So then again, you want to have clear instructions to watch this in-depth video about X below. And in this video, you want to talk about their quiz results. You want to provide a lot of value still. You want to educate them. You want to prove your expertise by actually helping them. Because again, people who come to this page, they are very cold. They don't know who you are. So they don't know your expertise. They don't know how good you are or the value that you can provide. The best way to get people to know about the value of your high-ticket offer is to provide a lot of value before they buy your high-ticket offer. Because if you provide a lot of value beforehand, then they will subconsciously in their mind think, if he's giving all of these away for free, I can't imagine how good his paid stuff is. I can't imagine how much value he's providing there. So many of you guys are scared to provide value for free because then no one will want to buy your paid stuff. But it's the complete opposite. If you can prove how good you are and your expertise, then people are much more likely to buy your high-ticket offer. And then after you have talked about the quiz, the results, and given a lot of free value, then you want to slowly tie that to booking a call and working with you. And then again, I said it many times before, people are very skeptical these days, so you want to have some sort of social proof beneath the video. And then on your CTA button, now it's very important that you write out something that doesn't require so much trust. See if you qualify. That would be a great CTA button for your call VSL page, but you could also say apply for demo call or something similar. And a very helpful trick you can do on your call VSL page, at least on some softwares, on some funnel builders, is that you can hide this CTA button for the first 30 seconds that people land on your page. So how it would look like is people land on your call VSL page, they will see your headline, they will see your video, but they won't see any CTA button. So they will think subconsciously that you aren't selling anything, that you're just providing free value. So then they will go and watch your video, and when they are done watching your video, then they will see the CTA button. But at that stage, they are going to be much more warm, they will trust you a lot more because you have provided them a lot of value. So now they aren't so opposed to a CTA button. But if they see that you're selling instantly when they come to your call VSL page, then they might just jump out and leave the page because they don't want to buy anything. So that's something that you could do, and it works pretty well. And then again, beneath your CTA button, you want to have a lot of case studies to provide proof that you can do what you say you do. So yeah, this cold VSL then goes to your calendar page. And now, if you run ads to your quiz, you know that you will get a lot of people to opt in who aren't qualified, who you don't want to work with. That's obvious. Hormozy also has a quiz funnel. Hormozy has his free scaling roadmap, and he has said that around 20% of people who opt in for his quiz are qualified, are people who Hormozy could work with. And you know, that's just the case every time you run ads. You will get unqualified people to opt in. And the beauty of a quiz funnel is that you get a lot more qualified people than you get with other lead magnets. You know, if you keep talking about Hormozy, for example, he also has his $100 million books, and they are also a lead magnet, but only around 5% of people who get his books are qualified. So that's another beauty of the quiz funnel. You get a lot higher percentage of qualified people to opt in than with other, more standard lead magnets. But as you all know, every single time you run ads, you have your meta pixel. You know, that's what Meta uses to track how well your ads are performing and how many opt-ins you get, how many people book a call, and so on. But as I just showed you, around 80% of people who opt in are going to be unqualified. And you don't want to train your meta pixel on these unqualified people. You don't want your ad algorithm to be trained on people you don't want to work with. Because then Meta will show your ads to more of these unqualified people. And that's something that you obviously don't want, right? But this is the big beauty of the quiz funnel. Because from this quiz form right here, you get a lot of information about all your opt-ins. They will tell you if they are qualified or if they're not qualified. You know, with a standard lead magnet, you only get name, email, and maybe phone number. So there's no way you can know if someone is qualified or if they are unqualified with a normal lead magnet. But now in your quiz form, what you want to do, you want to put your qualification questions in your quiz form. You want to disguise your normal qualification questions, these right here, you want to disguise them as your quiz questions. So then you can know exactly which leads are qualified and which leads are not. So what you want to do is that you want to redirect all the unqualified people to a different page that is identical to the other VSL page. As you see, these two pages, they are identical. They are exactly the same. But what you want to do is that all your qualified people go to this VSL page, the first one, and then all your unqualified, they go to this other VSL page. And then what you want to do is that you want to fire your meta pixel only on this page where the qualified people are. Now the unqualified people won't train your ad algorithm. And this is so crucial. It will make your ads perform 10 times better. And then from this VSL page where the unqualified people are, you can redirect them to your YouTube channel where they can consume more of your free stuff and maybe become qualified sometimes in the future. But now let's look at the email sequences you want to send to people after the quiz form, after the quiz funnel. Because as I told you before, only 3% of people will buy right away from your cold VSL page. And the other 97%, well, they aren't ready to book a call yet. So we need to keep nurturing them, warming them up, making sure that they know, like, and trust us, and then eventually they will be ready enough to book a call. So after the quiz form, you want to have an email sequence. And the problem I see so many doing with their email sequences after your lead magnet is that they are hard selling. They're just pushing and pushing and pushing people to book a call. And you need to still remember, these people have spent 5 minutes at most with you. You know, they don't still know, and trust you. So if you're instantly pushy and hard selling them in this email sequence, then they will hate you. Then people will never open your emails again. They will never watch your content again. They will never buy anything from you because in their minds, you're desperate and you're just hard selling. So you want to create what I call a value email sequence. And what you want to do in these emails is that you need to think, people opted in for your quiz. You solved one problem for them, but now you need to think, what are the next problems that people have? Obviously, you don't want to solve everything that your main high-ticket offer solves, but there are probably some more problems that people have, and you want to solve them in order in each email. So if I go quickly back to your quiz, in general, there are two best formats for your quiz. One is problem reveal, and the other is solving step one in a sequence of problems. So problem reveal might be like Alex Hormozy's free scaling roadmap. You put in your business information, and then he tells you what you're struggling with at that stage and what you need to do to evolve to the next stage. And then solving step number one might be, your client's problems, right? So there might be, 5 or 6 different things that people need to do in order to get to their dream outcome. So what you can do with your quiz, your lead magnet, is that you can solve step number one completely. So if you then go to your value email sequence, then in each email right here, you can solve one more step. And every time you solve one step, don't do it 50%. If you solve one step, make sure you solve it 100%. But obviously, you don't want to solve every step that people struggle with, because then they won't desire your high-ticket offer. So in each email, in your email sequence, you want to give a lot of value, you want to solve one problem entirely, and then within the email, you want to link one of your YouTube videos that talks about the same issue, that talks about the same problem. And the reason why you want to have a YouTube video within the email, again, comes down to the 7 hours of exposure that people need in order to become a high-ticket client. The same thing I talked about before. So your emails maybe take a few minutes to read, but if they then go from your email to a YouTube video, then they will spend a lot more time with you because your YouTube videos, they are like 30 minutes long. So now people are much more close to the 7 hours of exposure that they need. So in each email, you need to make sure that you link one YouTube video that solves the same problem that your email talks about. And then also in every email, you also want to have a case study of a client, of someone that got a great result by implementing what you teach them. So in this value email sequence, you want to have around 5 emails, and at the end of each email, you want to tease the next email. You want to hype up the next email because otherwise people won't open the next email. So make sure that you tie every email to the next email. You want to create some open loops. And then at the final email, then you can have a bit harder, a more pushy, a more salesy CTA to go and book a call on your calendar page. And before your value email sequence starts, you want to have one introduction email before. And in this introduction email, you want to introduce people who you are. And this is for people who opt in, who give their email address to you for the first time. So these are people who don't know you, so you want to introduce yourself, what is it that you do, who you are, a little bit about your life story, and you want to have a very positive tone because this is people's first impressions of you and your business. And in that email, you want to link 4 or 5 of your best performing YouTube videos that you know have warmed people up before, that you know have gotten you clients before, and you want to push people from this first email to go and watch those videos because again, people need that exposure to become ready to go call and work with you. And then also in this first email, you also want to have a lot of case studies and proof and results that you have got for other people. And it has got very, very messy here in between, but we still have a few more things we need to add to the funnel. So I'm just going to move up here to draw it. But also, after people opt in for your quiz, to your quiz funnel, you always want to send them an instantaneous SMS message. And there's been studies that if you can contact your leads in under 1 minute, and that will increase your conversion rates by 391%. And that sounds crazy, right? And if you contact your leads in over 5 minutes, your conversions drop by 80%. So just by contacting your leads faster, instantly, you will get 4 times more people to book a call for your high-ticket service. But that's not possible if you yourself are contacting every single lead because you're not on your phone, you're not on your computer 24/7. So this is something that we need to automate. But we still need to contact leads. If you're not contacting your leads, this is probably one of the biggest levers, biggest boosts you can have right now. And this is what appointment setters do. And appointment setters are very valuable. That's why people hire them in the first place. People don't pay appointment setters 100K a year for no reason. They obviously make you more money. But instead of having to go hire one and pay 100K, instead you can automate this with AI. But you can't automate the calling part because AI voice callers aren't good enough yet. They sound way too robotic, but AI is very, very good at SMS. So what you want to do is everyone who opts into your quiz, you want to send them an instant SMS. What then happens is that AI is the one that contacts them, and AI will hold a conversation. And just to make things clear, AI will not be pushy and salesy. AI will send the first message, and if people don't reply, then the AI won't send any more messages. But if people reply, then the AI will hold the conversation. And the AI will ask all your qualification questions from the prospect. And if the AI deems that the prospect is qualified, and if the AI sees that the prospect is interested in working with you, then we send them the calendar link where they can book a call to work with you. And this all happens while you're doing anything else. While you're working, while you're sleeping, while you're with your family, while you're doing anything else. So having an AI contact all your leads via SMS is one of the best things you can add right now because you're very busy. So if you can get clients on autopilot while you're doing something else, then that's like the dream, obviously, right? And if the prospect is not yet interested in working with you, then the AI will send your YouTube channel to them instead. Then they can go and watch your videos, your content, they will see your expertise, they will start to know, like, and trust you, and then eventually when they are ready, they can go and book a call from your main VSL funnel. So the AI helps you in 2 ways. It funnels the people who don't want to work with you yet to your YouTube, where you can nurture them more, and it guides the people who are ready to work with you instantly to your calendar page. And then one final thing I want to show you guys is that you all know that not everyone who comes to your calendar page will book a call right away. A pretty standard conversion rate for your calendar page is like 50%. So that means every other person that comes to your calendar page, they have went through your qualification form, they have showed some intent, but they still didn't book a call. And we want to take advantage of those people, obviously. So we want to create sort of a cart abandonment sequence. You know, the people that don't book a call right away from your calendar, they are put into this cart abandonment sequence. And this cart abandonment sequence consists of emails and of SMS messages. And this cart abandonment sequence is exactly the same like in e-commerce. You all know if you add something to your cart and leave it there and don't check out, then you will receive a bunch of emails to your inbox that you left something. And we want to create the exact same thing, but for our calendar page. For people who go through your qualification form and land on your calendar page but don't book a call. And with this cart abandonment sequence, it's very important that you are very, very quick. Most people send a reminder like 24 hours after someone went through your qualification form. Do you know how much can happen during 24 hours? They won't have as high intent, a day later after they opted in. I'm gonna draw a quick graph here, but people's intent goes in these spikes. People don't have the same amount of intent for a long period of time. People have these spikes, so you want to take advantage of these spikes that people have because they don't come so often. So when people go through your qualification form, then they are at the peak of their intent. But for whatever reason, they didn't book a call. Maybe their dog peed on the floor or their kid started crying, for whatever reason. So you want to instantly send an SMS to them right away. You want to instantly send them an SMS because then they are at the top of their intent. And you want to also have a multi-channel assault. You want to fire every single missile from every single place at the same time. So this first email right here is also instant. So instantly when people leave your calendar page, you want to send an instant SMS and instant email. And those go back to your calendar page, but if they still haven't booked a call, then you want to send them these additional emails. And these emails are designed to nurture people. Because if they didn't book a call after our reminders, then there's probably some reason why they didn't book a call. They maybe saw something that they didn't like. So that's why I want to put them into a nurture sequence. You want to have like around 10 emails in this sequence that keep giving value, proving your expertise, showing case studies, showing testimonials. And then eventually when they feel ready enough, they will go back to your calendar page and book a call. And then the last thing I want to touch upon is that you want to have a very, very similar, headline and copy on your pages in your funnel. When people, for example, come to a VSL page, they will read your headline, and then when they book a call and go to your calendar page, if they see a very, very different headline on your calendar page, if there is that ever slight disconnect, then they will probably just jump out and won't book a call. So your copy on all your pages should be very congruent. You want to say the same stuff on your VSL page as you say on your calendar page. There can't be a disconnect, because then you will lose a lot of conversions. And the same thing is, with your ads. So when you run ads to your quiz funnel, and when you have the CTA in your ad, people will create in their mind an expectation of what your quiz opt-in page will look like. And you don't want people to create that image in their mind, because if your real opt-in page is different than the image they created in their mind, then they will never opt in. Because people don't like surprises. As I already told you before, people don't like unexpected things. They don't like the unknown. So in all your ads, you want to always show what the next step looks like. So in your ads, when you have your CTA, you want to have an image, you want to literally show what your quiz opt-in page looks like. Because then when people come to your quiz opt-in page, then there won't be anything unexpected. So every single time, you want to be congruent, you want to show what the next step looks like, and you want to have a similar copy on all your pages. You would never want to surprise people in any way. So this was the exact funnel that most coaches, consultants, and agencies are running to generate these 300K plus months without drowning in content creation, without having endless sales calls, endless objections, and so on. So if you have any more questions, I will leave my Instagram in the description below. So feel free to shoot me a DM and I will be more than happy to help you out. See you in the next one.